carrier. This has happened to every carrier. All the big ones. Typically, it's just T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. Typically, it's not a Mint Mobile or a Cricket. It's typically the big three, but it's happening across the board. What they do is hackers will get a hold of your cell phone number, and they'll do it internally. So each SIM card that has your info, your cell phone number on it, has a serial number. So in the carrier servers, in their computer system, they will change your phone number and technically your SIM card ID number to their phone. So all your calls, text messages, everything goes to their phone because they've transferred your phone number to their phone. So what they'll do is once they do that, they'll go to Google, go to Gmail, and say forgot password. Now, a lot of people have their 2FA recovery to their phone number. So they'll get that. They'll say go to Google and say forgot my passcode. And then Google will text them a code, but that code is supposed to go to your phone number, but it's going to your phone number, but on their phone. So they'll log into your Gmail, change the passcode. So you're locked out of your Gmail. Then what they'll do is they'll get in, they'll go to, if they know you have lots of crypto, they'll go to Kraken, they'll go to Coinbase, say forgot password. Now that they have control of your phone number and your email, they'll say forgot password, and then essentially they'll get emailed and or a text message to sign into Coinbase, and then they drain your crypto account. They also do this to Bank of America apps, Chase app, whatever is associated with that phone number and with that email. They can log in, lock you out by changing the password, and then they have full control of your crypto and or your bank accounts. So there's this really interesting story. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Daniel says, on the topic of SIM, might I add that T-Mobile is clueless when it comes to SIM swaps. Their agents are wrong about the process half the time. I wish they'd bring back self-service, but they say it isn't secure, yet they use SMS for eSIM transfers, which is way less secure than a secure site with app-based 2FA. I completely agree. There's a number of things that these carriers can do, and let's discuss what they can do after we discuss this story real quick. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, can y'all see this? There we go. Where are we? So, AT&T. Man, look at these ads. Damn it takes up more than half the screen. There we go. So, AT&T is being sued. So there was a gentleman who essentially got SIM swapped. Now, this was not a normal person like me or you that may have $700 in crypto or $300 in Ethereum. This guy was singled out by these hackers, and they stole his crypto. Now, it wasn't, like I said, $300, $700. This was $24 million. $24 million they transferred out of his accounts. They SIM swapped him, transferred all of his crypto out. Shame on you. We'll get into why that can be avoided. Well, not necessarily a SIM swap, but anyways, let's get into this. So, telecommunications giant AT&T is facing a renewed legal challenge in a case linked to a SIM swap hack. A federal appeals court revived a lawsuit where a customer lost over $24 million in cryptocurrencies after the company allegedly let hackers gain control of his phone number linked to his crypto accounts. So this case has been revived, right? So as per the filings, plaintiff Michael Turpin had claimed that the Federal Communications Act survived dismissal Federal Communications Act survived dismissal. Okay, so the FCC got off the hook. Now, this is a revived court case, so the first ruling he lost, right? So the FCC got off the hook in the first court case that they dismissed. They did not even award him anything in his first court case hearing. He appealed, and now it's going to the Court of Appeals, right? The lawsuit will examine whether AT&T gave a hacker access to information protected by the act when it was enabled the hacker to perform the SIM swap. This complex case earned the Penske nickname Baby Al Capone. The Ninth Circuit Court had recently upheld several rulings in AT&T's favor. However, the court reinstated a key claim under Section 222 of the FCA, Federal Communications Act. This suggests that Turpin can continue to pursue his $24 million in damages, plus interest from that crypto, and all of his lawyer fees. So he initially sued for like $200 million. Now, he sued the two people that SIM swapped him. They were kids. They were teenagers. He's suing them and the FCC and AT&T for a total of like $200 million. That case was dismissed. He appealed. Now they're re-examining the case. Now, his damages, he adjusted. So instead of in his original case for over $200 million, he said, okay, well, now I'm just going to sue for the money they stole, the interest that $24 million would have incurred, meaning if he had $24 million in Bitcoin in 2018, well, shit, it's a lot more now, right? So they did all those calculations. So he's essentially suing his $24 million plus the interest he would have earned over that period of time between then and now, and his lawyer fees. So essentially he readjusted his damages. Now he's suing for $45 million. Michael Turpin has previously sued alleged hackers Ellis Pinsky for $71 million. Pinsky had returned around $2 million of the 24 he stole. The crypto investor who this happened to won a $75 million lawsuit in 2019 against the SIM card swappers. So this was he won $75 million against the hackers that hacked him, but now he's suing AT&T. Pinsky, the hacker, is now a New York NYU grad. He had reportedly agreed to testify against AT&T in the ongoing case. This move could heavily impact the legal scope of the telecom companies. Now, Turpin will see some success against AT&T. He suggested that U.S. telecom companies need to be held accountable for all of these SIM card swaps. So, allegedly, let me take you back here. I think here's a better description of what happened, right? Because the earlier story I read was more accurate. This one I just read you was kind of all over the place. So the hacker, when he did this, was only 15 years old in 2018. Now, how this happens, check this out. When he was 15 years old, stole $24 million. Ellis Pinsky and a friend, right? So Pinsky and his friend bribed an AT&T employee to transfer Turpin's SIM card information. So they bribed an AT&T employee, and this is a common thing, right? So typically, two ways how this happens. The hackers will bribe an AT&T or a telecom employee, whether through direct messaging, online, or face-to-face. There was a case here in South Texas. When was it? Maybe a year ago. There was a case where they met an employee that works at a physical T-Mobile store here in San Antonio, and eventually bribed him, gave him $84,000 in cash to, I think they performed like 15 SIM swaps, right? 84 grand in cash. And then they just walked up to this guy, an employee that was either coming in or coming out into T-Mobile to work, or when he clocked out to go home. They confronted him, said, hey, we'll give you, whatever in cash. Can you do this for us? And the guy said, sure. Now, both of them were prosecuted, and I believe that everybody's in jail. It either happens that way, they'll bribe an employee, or you'll commonly see in these stories a SIM card swap story where you'll commonly see a term where they say a bad actor. Now, what is a bad actor? A bad actor means a lot of times in these SIM card swaps, somebody will actually, a hacker or a friend of a hacker, somebody that's an accomplice, will actually apply for employment to a T-Mobile, to an AT&T, to a Verizon, with the intent to SIM swap somebody, with the intent to get access to these servers, with the intent to have access to T-Mobile's or AT&T's computer systems, and then perform SIM swaps from the inside, not just to have a job and earn money for your family. They get a job to SIM swap. It's that lucrative for these bad guys. However, there's always a paper trail, a digital paper trail, essentially, when it comes to this stuff. Let's see. AT&T had an obligation to protect the SIM card information. A panel in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals found that Turpin's claims were rightfully dismissed, except for the claim under Section 222 of the Federal Communications Act, because Turpin's SIM card information is protected under the Act. The court did not reinstate Turpin's fraud claim against AT&T or his demand for the $216 million in punitive damages. That was his original case. According to Turpin's lead attorney, Pierce O'Donnell, Turpin will now seek $24 million plus at least $14 million in interest and attorney fees totaling $45 million from AT&T. That's his new lawsuit. Right? Turpin originally brought 16 charges against AT&T, but only 3 of them were allowed to proceed. Turpin used his investigative skills to track down Penske, who returned $2 million out of the 24 that he stole. After Penske had the hacker turned 18, Turpin sued him for $71 million, the balance of the stolen funds plus 3 times the damages as allowed for racketeering charges. Nonetheless, Penske agreed to testify on Turpin's behalf in a case against AT&T. So not only did he hack and steal this guy's money, but he's actually going to testify on behalf of the person he hacked, going up against AT&T. Why would he do that? It's probably just to look good in front of the courts, probably just to get lenient jail time. Right? It's like when somebody turns on another a perpetrator. There's multiple perpetrators and one of them rats on all the others. It's basically what this is. So Turpin sued Penske's accomplice, the second hacker, Nicholas Truguglia, for $75 million in 2019 and won the case. Truguglia was 21 at the time of the heist. Truguglia and Penske's meetings online and its dramatic consequences were documented in a feature story in Rolling Stone in 2022. Penske recently graduated from NYU. Now, these telecom companies, why do I bring this up? Something has to change. So this is I'm not going to say a landmark case, but I believe it is a very important case because these companies, check this out. If you have time, when you go get a new phone, right, or a new phone number, or you go to T-Mobile and you get an iPhone 16 Pro, and they basically say, okay, I need you to sign here and here. Well, in that fine print that nobody reads, these carriers are very, very articulate in how they word that fine print, because if you read it, and I have, it basically says you're signing your rights away if you get SIM swapped. Yeah, that's why I say next time you get a new plan from T-Mobile, a Verizon, and AT&T, before you sign, if you have time, I know they make it extra long, so I believe, so you don't read it, but you're essentially signing your rights away if you get SIM swapped. They do that because they don't want to pay these millions and millions of dollars people are getting stolen from these SIM swap attacks. Now, I believe this could be a landmark case because something has to be done, right? This is far too easy. This happens far too many times. And it not only happens to these super rich people, right? Because you could be an average Joe like me, like you, and say, well, what do I care? This is never going to happen to me. That's not the case. I had a customer 2 years ago. She was a retired Navy officer. She got SIM card swapped. They drained her savings account of over $43,000, gone in minutes. So this does happen to people like me and you. And something has to be done. The government, some way, has to step in there. Now, the Section 222 in the FCA, the Federal Communications Act, I believe they need to update it and or amend it somehow. I don't know how, but something has to be done to hold these companies liable, because if they're not liable for the money that's stolen, what are they, look, yes, it's bad PR when this comes out, but a lot of people just flies over their heads. AT&T wants to keep it that way. They don't want to be held liable. Well, if you're not held liable for damages that your employees do, what do you care? I mean, sure, they may kind of put out a employees manual or internal surveys or internal classes that they have to do online about SIM swaps, but they're just doing that to say, oh, look, well, we've told our employees to look out for this and we're putting forth an effort to try and prevent this. No, they're not. All they know is they don't have to pay, and they're just kind of throwing stuff out there to make it look like they care. Something has to be done by the government to make these companies liable if a SIM card swap, because it's literally people like me and you minding your own business, and next thing you know, all your money's gone, and good luck getting it back. And my customer, I haven't spoken to her maybe in about a year, but this happened about 2 years ago, and she's having a hard time getting her money back, right? So it's an absolute disaster if this happens to you, and it's not right. It's not fair. We're average, hardworking people, and these companies, these cell phone bills are insane anyways, and just to get your money drained from somebody working within that company, either whether it's a random attack or it's a targeted attack, it's just not right. It's just not fair, and this has gone on for far too long. Now, let me show you. I got a couple screenshots here. So look at this list of people they SIM swap. Check this out. So here's a list of these two teenagers that got this guy's 24 mil in crypto. These are all the people they SIM swapped, right? Probably, I don't know how much they did, but it's got to be well over $100 million, I'm assuming, because they probably hit people they knew had a lot of money. It is probably just some random people like me or you and mixed up in there. Now, if you want to see the web of all these SIM card swaps, check this out. So that's the two perpetrators in the middle. The purple middle right. And then everybody they SIM swapped is around the diameter of them, right? So it shows exactly who got SIM swapped, the name, and then the amount of crypto that they took from that person, and then either that person's crypto went to perpetrator A or perpetrator B. Just they went on a SIM swap spree, and this happens far too often. It's just far too easy for these companies. And look, even like Daniel was saying, even with some of these quote unquote safeguards that these companies have, where even if, you know how a lot of these companies are starting to do like, oh, what's your PIN? You have to give them it's either a 4-digit or 6-digit PIN for them to access your account. That doesn't matter. They do that on the inside. If you have access, meaning certain levels, when you call and you talk to a CSR, customer service rep, they're going to ask you it. But when you get higher up in management, they can access whatever account they want and can just simply bypass that. Right? So it's almost a stupid safeguard just to make you feel safe, the customer. They get by that, right? And an eSIM compared to a physical SIM doesn't matter. They get past that. It's actually easier, from what I heard, having an eSIM. And if you have a SIM pin on your device, yeah, you can go into settings and set a SIM pin where you cannot change your SIM card in this device unless you put in another PIN code. Doesn't matter. This is done from the source. This is done from the inside. All the little precautions and little precautionary measures and these little safeguards that these companies do is just BS. It does not protect you from a SIM card swap. They do need to change. Major changes needs to be taken place. But in the meantime, there's only one real solution that I can think of, and that's getting IFANI carrier services. IFANI is like a T-Mobile. IFANI is a carrier like Mint Mobile, Cricket, Verizon, except they've never had a SIM swap. They focus on cybersecurity. So not only do they effort their services and promote their services to politicians, athletes, CEOs, but they also promote their services for people like me or you. Now, is it a little more expensive? A little bit. I think it's $100. It's $90 or $100 a month per line. Now you get unlimited talk, text, data, all that crap. But they guarantee no SIM swap. In fact, they're so confident in their service, they have a $5 million insurance policy. So if you get SIM swapped, you get $5 million. Now, they don't openly promote what service it is. You know, like Mint Mobile is on the T-Mobile network or Cricket is on the AT&T network. IFANI doesn't say, and that's on purpose because they don't want hackers out there. Are they on the T-Mobile network? So I need to hack into T-Mobile servers, or are they on the AT&T network? So I need to hack into AT&T servers, or is it Verizon? They don't say what service they use, and that's on purpose, right? Try to keep everything hush hush. To my knowledge, they have not had a SIM card swap as of yet, and I believe it's pretty secure. So if you're really, really concerned about this, do this. Don't put any banking apps on your phone. Don't put any crypto apps on your phone. If you do have cryptocurrency, get a cold wallet. That means a wallet that's offline. It's a cold storage wallet. You basically load your crypto on it. That's encrypted. Plug it into your computer, and you can essentially transfer your crypto onto this little USB drive, and it's offline. It's not stored in Coinbase. It's not stored in Kraken, right? That's how they steal it out of your account. If you have crypto, buy one of these USB cold wallet storages, transfer all your crypto on that little thumb drive, and store it in your safe in your home or wherever. So that's one thing. Number two, don't have Bank of America or Chase on your phone or whatever bank you use. Don't do it. Simply do it from a computer and only log in on your computer. Remember, SIM card swap, comes in through the carriers, and then they forget password, and then they sign in and lock you out. Third thing is disconnect your mobile number. Like if you have a T-Mobile phone and a T-Mobile number, don't use that same number as your recovery outlet, meaning forget your, like for a Chase or for Bank of America, if you forget your password for your recovery, do not put your carrier number on that recovery. And also, if you have a email as your recovery, disconnect your phone number from your Gmail account. You want to unlink as many things as possible. Look, these guys are looking for quick hits, right? So if they're having a hard time trying to log in or figure out somebody's thing, they're going to move on to the next person. I mean, unless you're really, really important. But for people like me or you, the average person watching this, the harder you make it for them to get into your account, the better chance they're just going to move on to the next person. So follow all those and you should be protected. Efani, and then go over, get Efani, and then get all, I think it's efani.com, and then disconnect your carrier number from your recovery accounts and all that good stuff. So